Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Ditte Young, who's here to share with us a journey of spirit and animal communication. What wisdom can we gain from someone who communicates telepathically with spirit and animals? Well, today's guest is here to share with us her unique and amazing gift. Ditte Young is an internationally renowned telepath, animal communicator, clairvoyant, intuitive coach, and best-selling author who has dedicated her life to expanding human understanding of consciousness, connection, and communication, both seen and unseen. Born with a rare sensitivity to the spirit world, Ditte possesses a unique ability to practice telepathy with remarkable speed and clarity. She's taught her methods to thousands of people around the world, helping individuals connect more deeply with themselves, their children, and their animals. Through her books and global work, Ditte continues to empower others to trust their intuition, understand behavior on a deeper level, and live more connected, authentic lives. So welcome to the show, Ditte Young.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here again and just to talk about these amazing abilities you have. So, what are some of your earliest memories that made you aware that you're psychic or telepathic abilities?
I grew up in a household with animals. I had dogs, we had chicken in the backyard, and I had budgies, and I could hear all of them talking to me constantly. And I actually tamed those animals very fast. As a child, I wore glasses, and the budgies always flew into my room and sat on my glasses and combed my hair. I got them to speak. They started to tell their names, and I did that only based on thoughts. And then it occurred to me that I don't think this is normal, but I had absolutely no idea that I was telepathic back then.
That's so amazing how that came to be, having this connection with the animals. They're telling you their names. I mean, how did that feel as a little girl?
It felt very natural to me, and I think most children out there think or feel or sense that the animals speak to them. And I think it's just as important to tell the story to the parents now. Please be supportive of your children when they sense that the animals can speak.
So, when did you first realize that your experiences were different from those around you?
I think it was in elementary school, and I remember one incident where I thought one of my schoolmates kid's brother would drown. And I know this is an awful story. It's pretty pretty depressing. And I couldn't tell when he was going to drown. I just knew that he's going to drown. And a week later, he drowned. Luckily, he survived. But I knew back then that this is normal at all. So I think one of the early experiences must have been around 8, 9 years old.
Now, was that a kind of a scary experience for you? Because here you are, this child, you're 8, 9 years old, and you're having this premonition of another child dying.
Yeah, it was very scary. Luckily, he never died. He actually survived, but I never understood the extent of the abilities and being precognitive back then because I didn't know the term. So I was pretty respectful and somewhat spooked about these abilities. Yeah.
How did your family respond when you noticed you're sensitive and that you had this awareness?
Actually, I never spoke openly about it to my parents. I remember that healing crystals had my interest, card readings had my interest, clairvoyance and the spiritual world had my interest. But my mom and dad were very religious and they never grew up with spirituality. So they actually couldn't support me. It was quite a lonely ride. as a child.
Well, and I know that you grew up as a twin, so did she share the same abilities as you?
Yeah, I think she has the same abilities as I do, but because she never exercised or put focus onto those abilities, they never developed. But she's quite an empath, and she has a lot of things she picks up on, but can't explain what it is.
Now, did she go through training like you did?
No, that was only me, and when I was 19 years old, I finally decided to put an end to all these abilities. I thought I developed them as well, but I wanted to shut them off. And my sister was very supportive of my journey and my spiritual interest, but she wasn't that interested in spirituality. And because we were twins, I think my parents totally supported us in each direction because we needed to grow up as individualists and not as one person.
Well, it's amazing that the both of you have this very similar gift. Did you ever talk amongst yourselves about it?
I remember I told her about my spiritual interests, and she got pretty scared of these abilities in an early age. And I think also due to our past as orphanage kids and being adopted from one country to another, my sister um, suffered from a lot of anxiety in the early years, and I looked into spirituality and answers to why did I get on this life mission? Why was I the one adopted instead? So I was the one seeking answers, and my sister was very respectful of the past and her being an empath.
What an amazing journey you both have been on and together and both separately. Was there a moment when your abilities felt overwhelming or too difficult to manage? And if so, how did you kind of work through that?
Oh, they always felt overwhelming because I wasn't able to shut down my abilities. I felt every single dog that I met spoke to me, every horse I met, animals. When I was in a room or a social gathering, I felt all these human beings in there, and it was quite overwhelming to me being social. And I believe that a lot of sensitive people out there probably know what I'm talking about here. That you can pick up the energy from a room, but this was more than just picking up energy. This was informations I received, and this was constantly overwhelming me. So when I was 19 years old, I needed to shut it off.
And that was because you didn't know how to deal with it, is the reason?
Oh, yeah. And because everything, and I think it's because my abilities just got wilder and wilder and was increasing with the fastest speed ever. And I never understood the things I dream, they actually come true. Is it because I manifested it, or is it because I dreamt it? Or I had so many questions, and I wanted to understand spirituality and my abilities, even though I never knew what it actually was. But I think it was a good thing that I was that curious about my abilities instead of shutting them down in an early age as I could have. And I think that I needed to be very, very curious about those abilities, to make a profession out of it eventually in the later years. But back then, it was just too much. It was way too much for me to handle.
I'm sure during that time, you're probably not thinking, I'm going to make a career out of this. You're probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're probably thinking, I just want to manage this.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And I just want to shut it down. And I just want it to go away. That was what I thought. I see dead people here. I sense this woman is depressed. I feel infidelity in the room. I can sense that this woman has an eating disorder or children are suffering in in their homes. What am I supposed to do with all these informations here? So it was quite a curse to me for many, many years.
So, did you ever try to hide or suppress what you were experiencing, or did you find ways to embrace it?
I was definitely trying to suppress it. I was trying to be, quote, normal. I was trying to grow up as a teenage girl without any spiritual talents. And I think I suppressed it by adapting to my surroundings, trying to be the cool girl or the tough girl. And I succeeded with that, but I suppressed my abilities and they kept knocking on the door. They wanted me to let them in because it just kept getting wilder and wilder. It never worked suppressing them.
Is it that spirit can sense that you have these gifts and so they're drawn to you like you're a beacon of light?
Yeah, or maybe I have chosen my path and I was trying to work against my not past. Maybe I have chosen my path and I was trying in an early age to work against my path. And the universe, my guardian team, or whoever is there to help me weren't allowing me to shut them off. And if I think thoroughly about all these choices I've made throughout my life, everything led to this path I'm on, which is helping other people. But as a child, I thought I might become a psychiatrist eventually, or a psychologist, or an author. I wanted to be an author and or working with the news department or journalism. I just want to spread news and open people's eyes and be empathetic. And I think this path I'm on now have gathered all these thoughts I had of a future career. When people told me as a child, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" 90% of the time, I told them, "I just want to help people in general. I just want to help."
That's such just a profound gift that you have. And I'm sure it took a lot to cultivate it. So, who helped you to begin to make sense of your gift?
When I turned 19 and I wanted to shut them off, I went to this school, a clairvoyant school, and to the listeners who's not acquainted with me, I am a clairvoyant. And in Denmark, where I'm located, we have a lot of clairvoyant schools because the high standards are very sky high in Europe when it comes to working in the spiritual field. Even though it's not accepted, yet we have organizations and unions here that can point at a very respectful or respected education, and one of those schools was the clairvoyant school I attended to. And I asked my teacher, "Can you shut this off?" And she told me, "Yes, sure, I can help you with this, and I will develop on your abilities, and you will become a very renowned animal communicator one day." And because she held my hand throughout 6 months intensively, she developed my skills, and I felt safe while I was developing them. And many of those exercises she threw at me was uh, totally stepping over my comfort zone and my own boundaries, but it made me wiser and it made me stronger, a faster telepath and a clairvoyant. And I cannot thank her enough. She's not no longer with us on this planet, but I'm thinking of her very, very often, and I'm very thankful for holding my hand.
It sounds like such a kind of arduous journey you're on, even though you had somebody there right with you. What gave you the confidence to trust your own intuition?
I think the feedback from every single client I've helped during the education, we needed to practice on 60 people, and I took in 40 animals. That is 100 souls to a four-legged within 6 months. And every single soul and client of mine told me that I was spot on and I needed to trust my intuition. And I think for me, I often thought, is it that easy? oh my God, is this clairvoyance? This is way too easy because I was used to fighting for things, or I needed to put myself, out there and do something that was way over my boundaries throughout lives in my life in general. And here I was, and it felt so easy for me to communicate with animals, or helping with connecting with spirits, or predicting other people's future. And I think my confidence grew for each client, each month, each year, basically.
So, how did your connection with animals play into your psychic and telepathic development?
Well, first and foremost, I think that the animals chose me, and I did grow up with animals, but I am not a writer. People that have listened to the telepathy tapes where I'm featured in America have heard that I work with the elite writers from national teams in Europe, and I never thought that I would become part of the equine industry at all. And I think because animals keep pulling me in every single time I want to quit my job, it is very clear to me that they want me to convey their thoughts and their emotions because I can, because I am not part of the industry, because I'm not biased, because I am a pure interpreter. I can say that, yeah.
Do you have a story you can share with us about just being there with an animal and diving into this really deep connection with them?
Oh, I meet them every day. I have sessions all over the country and internationally every day, and the things that touches my heart is to witness how pure they are, how much they want us as human beings to connect with nature, with them, with each other here on the planet. So I'm so sorry I cannot point out one specific example of one animal that made a great impact on me, because every single animal I meet does that with me or to me. And it is so heartfelt, and it's such a warm and loving job I have. And the extent of what they are able to convey to me is profound, because they always have great knowledge of each and every single family members. And just to give you one example, I just said I couldn't, but the last client I had today was a family from San Francisco, actually, and they moved to France, and they have a dog, and I was with the mother and the father, and the dog conveyed so many informations about their daughters, and their daughters weren't present with us during the session, and they literally were bawling their eyes out. They were crying. They were touched by all this knowledge their animal could bring to us. It was amazing. And I see this every single day, the extent of what they know in the tiniest details, and it's very private stuff. They tell me.
I think it's so interesting, especially now, how science is saying that animals, we talk about dogs, I'm sure it's with other animals as well, understand like 95% of what we say. So, looking at them in a more, sentient beings that really understand our experience, I think is such a profound walk to have with our animals.
Mm, truly, yeah, that is so true. And for me as an animal communicator, of course, I've been waiting for science to come with the evidence so that other people can trust in what the animals are trying to explain to us.
I just love that. Hey, as you look back, what do you wish people had understood about you, especially as a gifted child?
I wish that people would have believed me when I told them that I was scared because I saw a spirit, which means a deceased person. I wished that they had believed me and just understood, or tried their best to understand, is this even possible? Because when parents or adults tell their children, "No, it's just an imagination," I believed that I was wrong, and it took me quite some years to understand that I could believe in my own intuition and that I should believe in myself instead of others. It made my journey very difficult, and I wished that people would have understood my sensitivity, because as a child, when I told my parents it was difficult for me to handle a huge family gathering, not that they forced me, but I needed to be polite. I needed to show up, of course, and participate in those family gatherings. But they never understood why. And I would have wished that someone, one adult in my life, would have asked me, "But why is it difficult being you?"
Wow, it's really never asking that why question.
Mm, exactly.
At what point did you begin to see your gift as something you could share with others?
I saw that in the minute I met the first client in the clairvoyant school when I was 19 years old, and I remember it was a man. He was very tall, and I started to literally cry in front of him, and it occurred to me it wasn't my sorrow, my anxiety, or my fear, or my worries, it was his. And when I spoke openly about it in front of a lot of people, other students in the school, and I kind of released obstacles for him just by telling the truth, just by becoming a reflection of his emotions. He healed. And I remember that I thought, number one, is it that easy? And number two, oh my God, this requires a lot of responsibility on my end, and I can do something with it. I can ease people's pain. I can heal them by opening my mouth if I dared to do that. And in the later years, when the same thing happened with horses and they transferred their emotions, their state of mind, their timbre, their personalities onto me, and I opened my mouth, all of the suddenly they changed their behavior. And I never convinced them to change anything. They were just being understood. And I think that many people who go seek a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a therapist or other practitioners, they feel better because they're being met, they're being understood, they are being comforted for 45, 60 minutes or so. And that's when I began to believe I can do something about it. But back then, I never understood how can I do something about it.
Such a big piece, that the how, and pulling all of who you are together in a way that is really the person who you're functioning today now, with all of your giftedness and your knowledge and your wisdom.
Thank you.
How has embracing your gifts of being a psychic or telepathic changed you?
It has changed me in a way where I think I stand a lot stronger, because I believe in my own intuition, and it's hard to go against my intuition now because I'm making a living out of it and I live in it every single day for the sake of myself and for the sake of my clients. But a very important piece here is the huge opposition that has been against me in the equine industry. That could be veterinarians that were afraid of my gifts. It could be national team trainers that were afraid that I would take the glory of their hard work. It could have been other colleagues that was jealous of my gifts. Standing up against all this all by myself, because I was one of the first people here in Denmark and in Europe that got quote famous actually, and people wrote articles about me. I was in the news, I have been in TV documentaries. I was a first mover on this part, and because I was the first one, I took all the beatings, but it actually made me stronger. It was a very, very tough road and a very hard journey, and I felt very much alone. But no one can, blow me away anymore or startle me or shock me anymore. No, nobody can do that because I know for a fact now that if you are a non-believer, there's a reason for being a non-believer. If you're a skeptic, they have a reason for being skeptic. If they mock me or they have bad things to say about me, it is absolutely nothing to do with me. It is their fear, their anxiety, them being not wise enough or having enough knowledge on this area that makes them believe what they believe in. And we can't debate that. I can only keep opening my mouth and speak openly about things.
In what ways has your gifts expanded or evolved since those first childhood experiences?
Well, when you work as a telepath and a clairvoyant every day, it is like going to the gym every day or running towards a marathon, which makes me stronger and faster of what I'm doing. And because I have trained this methods or being spiritual for more than 30 years now, I think that it is easier for me working as a telepath. It's easier for me to accept the knowledge I get, even though when I feel closed down, I'm still a bit open, so I can still predict things. I still have precognitive dreams. I still get a sense of people in a room, but not as massive as when I was a child because I understand what it is now and I can shut it off or I can ask my guardian team in that moment, what do you want me to do about this? Should I do something about this information or should I just ignore it and go give that person a hug and some love instead? And to the wilder extent, it has developed me into becoming, quote, a name and being able to practice telepathy, pass on my methods to people all over the world every day is such an honor. Being able to work with the elite writers, helping them to the Olympics and to the families with the new Labrador or Golden Retriever as well is such a privilege. So instead of observing my abilities as a curse, I see it as a gift today.
Well, it's definitely such a huge gift. I mean, you're helping so many people really understand and their animals to understand one another in ways that's so profound.
Oh, thank you.
So, what role has your personal life, relationships, and just daily living played into shaping your gifts?
They actually go pretty much hand in hand because the obstacles and the challenges I encounter every day and which I have to solve is often what I attract in my clients as well, which means I get to solve the challenges first. And when I have the answers to that, I have somehow attracted clients that needed that solution as well, even though it could look differently in their lives. And the privilege of having that knowledge and understanding, oh, this is what it feels like in my everyday life, have made it a possibility to create live talks or sharing it on social media platforms just because I wanted to pass on the informations to other people in general for free.
That's just so amazing how that all comes together. Has there been a time when your abilities brought you or others great joy, comfort, or even hope?
Yeah, I think my abilities have provided hope and solution and changes for many, many of my clients. And I think that the solutions are has to be individual. I can't make one size fits all concept with my clients or the animals or the children or the families I help. And I think that one of the biggest success stories I have is if you want me to share it is with one boy in particularly with his parents are doctors and they saw me on the television in a documentary about my abilities. It was called Special Gifted People. here in Denmark. And they thought, okay, we have a non speaking autistic child. Maybe telepathy could be a thing. And they contacted me when the child was 10 years old. And just 2 months ago, he graduated from university and he's a speaker now. And being part of that journey together with that family is one of the most miraculous, mind blowing, heartfelt sessions I've done, and I've seen this family every single month for 20 years.
Wow, what a profound just being able to have that connection with you and understanding that really must really reshape your family dynamics.
Oh yeah, they saw how brilliant and intelligent he was, and because they used me as his telepath to begin with, they found the right direction for him, the proper schools for him, the right support for him, and then the development went very, very fast. And it was pretty amazing to observe this and watching an entire family grow, becoming happy and not, less stressed out and solving the issue. And here we have this young boy who can go out and he's soon becoming an engineer now. So I'm very, very, very proud of them.
Well, it's so interesting when we look at telepathy in regards to communicating with other people, because I know you use it day in, day out, communicating with animals and people. What is a story you could share with us where your gift really deeply touched someone's life?
I remember because I have so many beautiful stories, but in particularly one of my clients, when I met him, was in a car accident, and he was brain damaged. He was this beautiful, beautiful boy with the most successful career in front of him and a light future and a bright future. And then he got brain damaged. He went into a coma state. And when he got home um, to his mom, he was just in bed all day. And the mom had seen me on television as well. And she contacted me and said, I don't know if I believe in telepathy, but I have absolutely nowhere to go right now. And I think this must have been 15 years ago. And I helped her with the rehabilitation of her son, and we did it in collaboration with his physiotherapists, his other therapists. And it was difficult, and he was in a lot of pain, but we needed to train him well. And I remember after a couple of years, he was sitting next to me in his wheelchair, and he wrote on a piece of paper, "Thank you, Ditte." And I cried. I couldn't stop crying because he knew the importance of the telepathic work we've been doing. And I actually wasn't sure how much do you comprehend here? How much do you understand that it is me that is your translator trying to utilize every single information you are passing on to me? And he completely understood that I had helped him to convey all these messages to his physiotherapist and his mom. And that made a huge impact on me. And I will remember and treasure this boy forever in my heart.
What a great story. My goodness. Did he give you, because I know a lot of times people say, well, I need to get some kind of confirmation that I'm actually hearing from this person. Did you get information like that?
Yeah, when it occurred to me that he could write, I just asked him, "Can you write?" And we started to signal a yes and a no, and okay or sure, uncertain, and pain, pain level or pain degree as well. So we started to communicate on a wider scale, and I asked him, and he said yes. That was just that was the proof.
That is the proof. That easy
Yeah,
communication you have back and forth. It's just like us speaking now.
yeah, yeah. That's true.
Do you have a favorite story from your own journey that always reminds you of the beauty of your abilities?
I think that story is my son. He is a living story that walks around with me every single day and reminds me constantly of I am on this path, why I feel chosen because I truly wanted to quit my job. It was so hard being so alone and meeting all these obstacles and all these challenges in the different branches where I was, walking through my journey. But Philip, the name of my son, is a reminder constantly with his successes that I need to keep going and that I am telepathic and it's worth everything I do because I see him growing. I see his develop every single year, even though the doctors, the neurologists, the psychiatrists have told both of us, the parents, he will never develop. He can never develop eyesight. He will always be disabled. Very, very negative words, and sentences when you are a parent. And we just keep proving them wrong. And we do that based on I completely understand him telepathically, not just being the mother understanding my child, but because I literally can hear my non speaking child tell me what to do and how to fight for him. And I think I love all my clients, but this is my son and he's my entire world and my entire life. So I actually think he's my favorite story to tell.
I do love hearing stories about you and your son, so thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, my goodness, with all of the people that you're connecting with and animals and just being out in the world, how do you protect your energy and create this balance that you carry with you?
It is a very good question and it is very difficult to practice. But I keep having focus on cleansing my energy before I start a client. I always ask for becoming a true channel for my clients and becoming protected because when I open these gifts, I know that I open towards everything. And we have good stuff out there and we have bad stuff out there. And I also focus on cleansing my energy as a visualization where I observe myself as taking a shower, like literally taking a bath, and with the intention of I cleanse myself here. And I spend a lot of time in nature where I'm trying to ground myself. And this is a tip where the animals have taught me they balance themselves in nature. So I have to be in nature as well, because if it works for them, it must work for us as human beings as well. And I think the protection of me and my energy is I have to withdraw myself from a lot of people with the negative energy because I become very sensitive towards negativity. I have to stay open minded. I have to stay positive most of the time to bring light and love to my clients and to my son. And I can't be too affected by other people's negativity, which also means I can't watch the news. As an example, I can read the news, but I rarely watch the news because 20 minutes with constant negativity from all around the world is way too intense for me. I would rather read them and, just put down my phone or my tablet or walk away from my computer instead. And when I feel like it, I can go back and read, okay, tell me more. What is going on in other parts of the world?
That's so important. I think it's a good reminder just for anybody because we can get so pulled into all the negative stories. I mean, how difficult that is on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, how does your gift influence the way you see purpose in life today?
I think that it goes hand in hand again because I believe that those gifts took me on this path. And the path, I believe, I understand now, is becoming the translator for children like my son Philip with autism and other neurodivergent children. And um, I cannot put children and animals in the same box at all because they're way different. And and the one thing I understand here, being respectful of both of these two or four-legged souls I help, is that they are very pure and that we are very dependent on both of them. And we need them in our lives because we develop as adults, develop as human beings. And I definitely think that in the future, I can only hope for the future, what it might bring with this huge paradigm shift and great interest in spirituality as well. I can only hope for a better world where people would stay connected and people will take both animals and spirituality and their children very seriously and listen. And it might be a projection of what I was lacking during my childhood, but maybe it goes hand in hand as well. This is what I wished for, and this is what I do every single day. I speak up for these children and animals.
What do you feel is the greatest misconception people have about you being psychic?
Oh, there are super many misconceptions because they don't know how I work. But one of those misconceptions have definitely been that people thought I was too spot on, so that I must have Googled my clients. And I remember after some of those veterinarians thought that I Googled clients, I told them, well, I don't know this horse or I don't know this client. And in the future, just give me the nickname. So I cannot Google me out of it. But if they understood how draining it is and how exhausted I am after a telepathic session, they would definitely know that I would never spend time to Google anybody. I would be way too biased. It would be difficult, to become a pure interpreter of my client if I Google them. And other people that aren't that aware of how this actually works and how it works is that I help people from afar. I help them remotely, which means I don't have to be physically present with other people. But some people think that I have to read their physicalities or their signals, and that is called cold reading them or reading them coldly here in Europe. And I don't have to do that. And that is one of the things I loved about the education I went to as a 19-year-old, that we were taught to practice telepathy blindfolded. We couldn't see the clients. I never understood or interpreted on the client. I couldn't witness it's a male energy, it's a female energy, it's an elderly energy or a younger energy. I could just feel and speak up my truth. And when I teach my methods to my students when it comes to animal communication, they're often occupied with the age of these animals. And I always wonder, and I tell them, please stop focusing on the age because it's not important. Because you can have an animal that might be 12 years old on paper, but could have the mindset of a 4-year old. And it's more important to speak up about this inner child of those animals rather than looking into an interpretation of that what might be wrong with them because they're 12, because then here comes a lot of assumptions, and we need to get rid of assumptions and projections and stay completely pure working in the telepathic field.
It's such a big piece. And when you reflect on your journey, and I know you've had quite a remarkable journey, what excites you the most about where your gift is leading you next?
I'm very excited about the journey I'm on right now because right now the doors are opening in a wider extent internationally and not only in Europe. And I kind of sense that the playground, quote, playground I'm in is I'm no longer alone here. because of people's increased interest in telepathy and clairvoyance, I feel more not accepted because I accept my own abilities, but I feel that it's easier. I'm way beyond becoming explanatory with my abilities, and people are more interested in what is the life like being a telepath instead of, are you sure you're telepathic? That's the huge difference I'm picking up on here. And where that's going to take me, I have absolutely no idea yet, but I'm very intrigued and I'm very ready and excited for this highway I'm on right now, because it feels like everything moves faster and I'm trying to comprehend everything and still trying to be me and the mother for Philip.
And then you also have so many clients around the world you work with, and the animals and the people. I mean, there's a lot that pulls on you.
Oh yeah, yeah. After the first episode, I was in the telepathy tapes, the great podcast show in America. I literally have a waiting list for a year now, and being that privileged to come back on the show is just amazing, and it just keeps opening doors. And because that podcast, I've been featured on other podcasts, so it's very clear to me sitting here in Europe, oh my goodness, the world is interested in telepathy now. Where is this going to take everybody? Where is this going to lift us up? What is going to happen to humanity? And I think that people are ready for spirituality, telepathy, clairvoyance, um, and other branches in this area, because they're seeking the answers to, is there something bigger than us? We need love, we need feel good stories, and that's why it's such a success. And I just feel privileged being a tiny part of all that worldwide.
Now, are telepathic abilities something that people can learn if they want to be able to communicate with their pets?
Oh yeah, every single person on this planet are telepathic. It is not for only special gifted people, but as any other musician, you everyone can learn to play the piano. But we had one Beethoven or one Mozart, so we have people out there who have more flair for spirituality or telepathy or clairvoyance or mediumship. But every single person on this planet can learn telepathy, and it takes my students about 3 minutes to practice telepathy. And the first exercise I pass on to my students are that they're going to tell me what's in a closed envelope. And my students become very frightened when they see that closed envelope of mine, because I was brought up during my education becoming blindfolded, and I'm passing these methods on to my students. I need to shut their assumptions off. I need them to feel what's in the envelope. And 95% of them are nailing that task within 3 minutes. It's amazing. I have online courses, I have physically present courses where I'm going to meet my clients. And I think in the future, there might be a possibility for me to educate people where I'm physically present in other parts of the world. So it's just a joy. It's just amazing being part of this huge interest.
So, where can people go to learn more about the workshops? And if I know you're insanely booked, but if they're wanting to also make an appointment, where do they go to do that?
Oh, they're super welcome to go to ditteyoung.com. And I'm on all social media platforms. And one of the recent things I just relaunched was that it's a possibility meeting me live on live calls now. And everything is just out there on social media. So just Google me and you're going to find me.
Well, how exciting is that? And thank you for sharing that with us. I'm sure there are a lot of people that want to meet you live.
I truly hope so. I'm just for their services, because I thought, well, I just need to reach, you know, the vast majority out there. I can't keep helping people one-on-one. So I'm gonna meet people and in a wider or broader audience now for a short or small amount of money, and they can go meet me live and ask me questions. And I will do some live telepathy when I'm there. So if you're lucky, I'm gonna pick you out.
So they bring a picture of their loved one or their dog or cat or horse?
Yes, they can just bring a picture. That's all I need because I'm gonna glance into the eyes of the two or four-legged, and then I'm telepathic with them.
Well, Didi, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you for inviting me. It means the world to me. Thank you.
Make sure to visit Ditte Young's website at ditteyoung.com for more information on her work, to be part of her community, and to join one of her workshops. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.